6 o'clock. Do you want to wait?
Franco?
Put it on the camera?
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome everybody to East Dundee's special meeting of the Board of Trustees. It's special because the dates got a little bit shifted around due to schedules and so forth. They have 6 o'clock. Catherine, will you take the roll?
Trustee Mahoney will not be in attendance. Trustee Coonsey?
Present.
Trustee Britton?
Here.
Trustee Saviano will not be in attendance. Trustee Triber?
Here.
Trustee Sauter?
Here.
And President Lino.
Here. And if you rise with me after the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. That brings us to public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to address the board on either an agenda or non-agenda item?
Yeah.
Sir, the floor is yours.
So,
If you just, for the record, just state your name and address. Thank you.
it's Thomas Walla. It's 206 Water Street.
Okay.
So, almost a year ago, I came in front of you guys to talk about the traffic on Water Street. I had reached out to the previous village administrator in 2019. She thought there would be something that they could do. When I came in front of you guys in September, I believe it was last year, she had indicated there was a traffic study that had happened or was in process, I guess. And, you know, Jeff, I was in contact with you. You had indicated that you were working on a few things, including, I believe you said, at least to make it to the agenda, some sort of discussion about reducing the speed limit on January 10th. As
Right.
far as I know, the speed limit is still 30
It is.
on Water Street. I don't know if that made it to the agenda. It didn't look like it
It
did.
has not yet. No.
So I'm curious, given all the time that has passed, what has happened? Obviously, I have concerns about the traffic itself, the truck traffic. It's gotten a lot worse since I've been there. I came in front of you guys before. I got rear-ended, pulling into my driveway. It's just gotten significantly worse. So I've been extremely patient, so I'm curious, what's happened in a year?
Well, one of the items that we have made some headway on was, as far as the truck traffic itself, there is a business here in the downtown that has a significant amount of trucks in it, and they don't belong in the town. It just doesn't. So we have worked out a deal where we're going to be able to hopefully relocate that business out of the downtown in an even land swap is what it will be. It will allow for the land that's here then to come to the village for further development of whatever, and then take the trucking operation further east. As far as and that is still in negotiation, so I appreciate the patience on that. The other item was, and we've addressed this one with our chief, is the notion of reducing the speed along Water Street in East Dundee to match that on the north end of Carpentersville, which is 25, and then bring that down.
Correct.
Because for whatever reason, it does change. And so that, along with putting additional patrols to monitor it, would be at this point right all we could do. But that idea of bringing down the speed is still being looked at. And there was a traffic study that was being done, and it did indicate that there was a significant amount of traffic on there that really doesn't belong in the town.
Right.
The other irritating item about that is it's not a route that should be utilized, and that is something that we need to get on top of. And so either by carrying a bigger stick or by moving quicker to implement the plans that we've already put in place.
Right, so from what I understand, it is technically a truck route. Also, from what I understand, last time I was here, you were going to look to determine why, I think it was in 1994, why the speed limit was changed. Did you come up with anything on that?
I didn't come up with any reason why it was changed, but then it was put through the IDOT and the federal agencies to look at when they redid.
Was it raised, Joe?
What's that?
Was the speed limit increased back then?
I didn't see any indication that it was.
Because I can't really understand why it would be 25 in Carpentersville coming through down south into East Dundee, and then, of course, it increases. It makes no sense. Especially when in between there is a park. You know,
Correct.
right there at Triangle Park. It really doesn't make any sense.
Right, I mean, one would think this village would want to embrace the river. The traffic is ridiculous. I mean, it sounds, I mean, just quite frankly, Jeff, that nothing's happened since I've been here. And that's clearly very disappointing. So I'm not sure what to say, other than there's, you know, speculation that this trucking company, it's the same conversations we've been having.
Yeah, I know, I realize, and I can only apologize for the lack of results, but I can tell you that work is being done on it. It's just a slow process for us.
Right.
Trying to relocate.
You obviously can understand where, especially since I initiated this in 2019, and literally nothing has been done. I'm not even sure. I mean, is there a way to get the results of the traffic study? I mean, because it was interesting to me, because the last time I was here, nobody seemed to know that this study was going on. And from what I understand, you guys are putting out money for the traffic study, so that would have to be approved by, I realize not all of you were here at the time, so.
Well, yes and no. I mean, depending on the dollar amount of the item being, you know, spent, the appropriations are not always, they don't always require board approval. If they're a low enough amount, the
Great.
village administrator would have the power to go ahead.
Great,
and
and I
authorize.
guess I'll ask you, is there any way that I can have access to this report?
It's a public document.
So it's
You
the
can
freedom of-
FOIA
Yeah,
the report. The staff would have to go through it. I don't imagine there's anything confidential in it, but.
I wouldn't
it
think
should
so.
be. I'm just saying, that would be looked
Right.
at.
Tom, we won't put you through the FOIA process to get a copy of it. We'll work that out and I'll get it to you.
I would appreciate that. I mean, clearly, we need to move on this. I've been more
We do.
than patient, so.
Yeah, we do. And it really, it has ramifications that go beyond just Water Street and speed there because of the route that are being taken. It's been something that's been weighing on me for quite a while, and that's the other roads that these trucks are taking, they're not meant to handle that weight, which means that they're going to be torn up a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the repair is going to be on all of us, and we don't have the money to do it right now. So we need to work to relocate the operation then.
Yeah, and it's not just that, because obviously the trucks aren't just going through there. And I said the last time I was here, I think a lot of it is because with all the truck, construction that's been going on, quite frankly, like, damn Google Maps, because like everybody takes everybody on my street as a shortcut. That's
It's
the
a
reality.
throughway, yeah.
That's the reality.
Right.
But, there's definitely things that I think that this village should look into to try to make it less appealing for trucks, cars to cut through, to cut time off their commute, because, you have a responsibility to.
That's a tall order. It's a public way, and so.
But there are things that you can do to slow people down, to make
Absolutely.
it more uncomfortable for them.
Absolutely.
I mean, frankly, it might be, I hear all this about West Dundee doing things that are, trying to control the traffic within their downtown area.
Mhm.
And, I don't know if you guys have reached out to them. It seems worthwhile to have conversations
We'll
with them.
give Joe a call and find
Possibly,
out.
yeah. And so I totally agree. It's a right away. People have to get places. It is what it is. But if you make it more uncomfortable, people will find other ways. That's the reality.
Well, certainly the speed limit for one, and then increased police patrol on it to make sure that people are adhering to it is another.
Yeah, I have
And then
no
the-
complaints with the police. They've definitely been doing the best they can, but the reality is they're enforcing the laws that are on the book.
True.
The laws need to change, and this is why I'm here in front of you guys again.
Okay. Duly noted. We'll get on it and I'll also get you a copy of that report.
I would appreciate that. Thank
No
you.
problem. Thanks, Tom. Okay. Was anybody else interested in addressing the board on any item, agenda or otherwise? Okay, seeing none. Okay, then that takes us to our consent agenda. If we could have a motion for that. Oh,
I do have a question.
please.
My name is Bill Schmidt. I live at 252 Fallbrook Court.
Okay.
And my question is, I'm worried about the property that they're working on. I'm not, what, the home that they have, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna build the, you know what I'm saying, for the women, I don't have a problem with that. I want to know what you're going to do with the D'Angelo property, the rest of it, what your plans are for it. I'm worried about apartments being, you know what I'm saying, built on that property.
Okay. Well, currently, we don't have any plans for it. There've been a couple of ideas that have been floated about, but the village doesn't own that property, and so,
I understand that.
Right.
You guys are going to zone things. I want to make sure that, you know what I'm saying, that the zoning is going to be just for that, you know what I'm saying, their property, and that we're not going to find out that, you know what I'm saying, you zoned it so that it can be, you know what I'm saying, built as apartments
Mhm.
at a later date.
well, as long as the property is zoned it for a particular use, you know, it can be used for that, so.
That's why I'm asking you, yeah.
Well, right now, yeah, if the ideas that are gonna come forth for development of that property require a zoning variance to bring that about.
But are you going to do that right now, or is it just going to be, you know what I'm saying, for that property?
What's on the agenda tonight is specific to the maternity house, correct?
Right,
Okay,
it's to
so
the
it's
redeeming lighthouse.
It's just for that maternity house.
The rest of the D'Angelo property, part of it, a good chunk of it is owned by the church.
Yeah,
And their purpose
they
is.
own all of it, right?
True enough, but
Yeah.
I know that they intend to retain a good portion of it for their purposes. putting
But if
up
you
these
zone it
schools.
to where, you know what I'm saying, they can build apartments at some point, then
Well,
that's what I'm asking you.
well, that wouldn't be tonight that we would do that. I mean, and if it was gonna be.
So it's only on their property that they're talking about,
The
that's it,
parcel
nothing
that's
else.
being,
Yes.
yeah, used
Yes.
for the redeeming
Correct.
life purposes.
All right, that's
Sure. Okay. Is anybody else? Yes, sir.
My name's Mark Petrelke with the East Dundee Fire District. I just want to introduce myself to the board. Me and Rob Byrne were just recently hired back in April, full-time members of the Bureau. Working close with Mr. Renewley and Frank over here, and I just want to introduce myself to you guys. I'm going to get more involved in the area and events in town and start showing up more at the board meetings. So,
Wonderful. Welcome.
thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? No. Okay. Then now we can go to our consent agenda. We can have a motion.
I'll move to approve the regular village board meeting minutes dated July 18th, 2022, and also move to approve the special village board meeting minutes dated August 8th, 2022.
Second.
Were there any questions or changes? Anybody had any concerns about those minutes? No? Catherine?
Trustee Coonsey,
Yes.
Trustee Britton,
Yes.
Trustee Triber,
Yes.
and Trustee Sauter.
Yes.
Okay, that takes us to our regular agenda items. Item A, if I could have a motion, or actually
We're going to have a discussion
discussion.
of an ordinance increasing the number of Class B5 liquor licenses and amending the number of video gaming permits for the Circle K.
Erica, do we have anything on this that you'd like to start with?
The applicant is present tonight. This is a similar request to that was approved a few months ago or last month for the Marathon convenience store on River Street. So it is, in compliance with the requirements, and it is up for consideration.
Okay. All right, with the. Oh.
Good afternoon. My name is Soren Patel. I'm the owner and the franchisee of the Circle K in East Dundee. I bought that gas station last year, November of 21. And I'd like your consideration for the gaming license. I mean, as you can tell, me and my family, we put our family savings in there. We bought it for almost $2 million. And since then, as soon as we bought it, the gas prices started going up. And we were taking a loss for 4 months straight every single day just to compete with BP and Thornton. And we're not on the same playing field because they have gaming. I know they're a truck stop, so I would appreciate your consideration to at least, stop the bleeding at least, and that would help us out a lot. Yeah.
Great.
So Erica, as you said, it meets the requirements of the ordinance. This is just to increase the licenses and let them
Right.
do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Any
Thank you.
license has to be approved.
Of course. Yep.
We created the class,
Yep.
and so this is just another request for a license based on that class, so. Does anybody else have any questions on this, or?
No.
Rich, Andy?
Nope.
Okay, well, the item wasn't up for a vote tonight, but it's a
Well,
discussion.
we should,
It's a
I mean, we can make this motion, right?
Yes, the agenda, because it says consideration, is clear enough to take a vote.
All right, so I will move to approve an ordinance increasing the number of Class B5 liquor licenses and amending the number of video gaming permits for Circle K.
Second.
Discussion. Catherine, take the vote.
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes?
Trustee Britton?
Yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
And Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
So you're in business. Good
Thank
luck. Thank you. All right, that takes us to item B. We could have read this one in this is another discussion item.
So this is for discussion and direction regarding a depot rental application for a blood drive event and the approval of a Class F special events liquor license for Eastside Cafe.
Okay.
Do we
Is
need
there-
a second since there's an approval in there?
Yes.
Second.
If you
Thanks.
want to take it as the whole thing.
Right.
yeah.
All righty.
Hi, I'm Dave Whitrock. I've hosted the blood drive for this will be my 20th year. Be my first year at the depot, and I wanted to get clearance for a liquor license. I'm partnering with Duke for food and Kate from Eastside Cafe for beverages.
Okay.
I just have one quick question. The idea of a blood drive mixed in with alcohol seems rather dicey. Can you help me? Why would we do that?
No, it's actually, it's turned into, it's kind of grown from a picnic into a kind of a family reunion and a gathering of friends that's gathered every year for 20 years, and we've never had any problems. We've held it at different locations over the years. We had it at Bandito's for a number of years, Diamond Gyms. This year I just wanted to move it out to the parks to have a little bit more.
And that's the difference. If you're
Yeah.
going to have it in a private facility, Diamond Gyms or Banditos, that's one thing. What you're asking now is to have it out in the public square.
Yeah.
That's concerning for me.
So, you've done this before, you're saying at Bandito's, and you were serving alcohol at those events, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you recommend that somebody gets their blood drawn and then goes and has a beer? I don't know. Medically, is that a good idea?
Yeah, we've never had any problems with that.
Can I do have an unrelated question to the actual, that's very fair questions. But this is Sunday of a holiday weekend in our park where we've got a lot of businesses that have events and stuff like that going on. So my biggest concern are the bands. You know, if we have Mockingbird with a band and Cobb's with a band and Black and Gray with a band and Diamond Gems with a band, then how is a big band in the middle? You know, we have all these individual locations that kind of are more self-contained. Yeah, there's some overlap in the music, but if we've got bands in the middle of the park, how's that gonna work with the other businesses? Have you talked to them? Do they know?
Yeah, so this is where I kind of chimed in. So my whole taking the whole thing is Wackerton, we call them Wackerton. I don't know if y'all have seen the play, been around. It's kind of like, I don't know, you've been playing for a long time, what I'm trying to allude to. But I've talked to the different businesses or whatever, because I'm like, if someone's been doing this for 20 years, I've been to plenty of them. I've seen quite a couple of you at some or whatever. I mean, it's a huge success and it's free, you know?
Yeah.
And my biggest thing was hey, instead of the town losing something for 20 years, why not try to kind of work with it? I talked with Jeff, everybody's pretty much on board. It's the same thing. It's not really busy on that Sunday to be honest with you. I mean, we're busy at Duke's, you know? But people aren't Lisa probably gets busy at Liano's, but as far as the music, people normally have later bands or whatever.
Okay.
I talked to Dan too, and I can give him a refresher or whatever, but I was more so looking at it as this is something where everybody in that circle area is probably going to benefit from it, because you understand the holiday weekend people will come down to Dundee on that Sunday, because a lot of them throw house parties. But wherever he has his event at, people come to it. When it was at Bandito's, it was packed wall to wall, and they still did the same blood drive. When it was at Diamond Gems, it was packed wall to wall, and they still. But on those Sundays, they're the only ones busy.
Also, I don't believe that Diamond Jim's or Cobb's is having music that particular day. I know Diamond Jim's is not.
I thought Diamond Jim's had an event outdoors that Sunday.
They do. It's that Betsy, for like I think a drag show.
Right.
Yeah.
So there will be music.
They're gonna have I think they're gonna have like a little DJ or something. But I talked to Trish about it.
Okay.
Her concern was, and that's what I said too, or whatever. Like instead of having, she's worried about parking right there. If
Yep.
normally the bus, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but normally it's like on the side street, I have a club, right?
Correct, but we talked about moving.
Moving it. Yeah,
Okay.
like if they move to the back parking lot, we're
Yeah.
at it. I just have to take a big picture. I don't see no reason to do something.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's, you know, if there's the DJ at Diamond Jim's and the band's right in line with it on the stage.
The
Like, is there
DJ at
gonna
Diamond
be
Jim's is gonna be
conflict?
upstairs.
Upstairs,
inside.
They're outside.
Are they gonna be outside?
They're outside.
When I stopped at the pub.
I talked to
I mean,
Jeff-
it's worth confirming. It's worth confirming with them because it
Yeah.
was my understanding it was going to be outside.
I thought Trish was mine.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's my only concern is that if we have these outdoor events, I don't want to have conflict with other outdoor events. You know, I want the blood drive. I want this to happen, but it's just that there are other things that are already scheduled.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not really for conflict, and I'm kind of like everybody. You know, so I think that's something, to be honest, I think that's something that could be like, when I talked with Trish, she said she wasn't coming, she wasn't feeling well. But she didn't say that was a concern from her or like anybody. I don't know if you're part of her board or with like the Betsy.
Yeah, and that's what she and I talked a little bit about it just briefly, and that's the only, if they're going to be outside, then that could be problematic. If they're going to be inside, it won't be, right? So that's the balance on that. Just worth checking on.
Oh, for sure.
I just don't want to have a whole bunch of bands who are created like Battle of the Bands downtown.
Or if it turns into a big party, and everybody
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Anybody else have any?
I mean, I would agree, like, as long as the other bars were fine with it, it sounds like a good event for a good cause, and
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if that's what it looks like to make sure we get buy-in from the other bars that also have music, if there's like a, just a sign off from each of them that they approve, but.
I struggle with this one, guys. I'm to be honest with you, my hat's off to the idea of a blood drive. I've taken part in them as volunteer and donated many, many times. Mixing this with alcohol and doing this in the public square is not something I can get behind. I mean, if you guys want to have the blood drive, no problem, bring it in. I'm really struggling with the idea of putting this thing on as some big block party, and we're going to have people who are giving blood, and basically getting bombed in half the amount of time it would normally take. This has got a problem. I don't know. This one's got problems written all over it.
All I can say is I've been doing it for 20 years and I've
And
never
that's
seen it.
fine. And I'm not here to, challenge you on that. I just, Duke, I mean, you want to have this and you throw this as an event and a major thing, and
I'm gonna be in California, but
wait a minute. I mean, your name is on this. You're not even going to be around for it?
my employees and my staff and managers and stuff will be there. So I mean, like, that's not my concern with that. Like, even the times where like I've joined and like I've witnessed it, like people, I like to have a couple of drinks when I go out to the bar. People who I see the blood drive typically, to be quite frank with you, they really don't drink that. A couple of appetizers.
This isn't really, it's not really a big drinking party. I just like to have it available.
You can check in
for
with
those
Jeff. I'm sorry, man.
that do want to have it. I mean, it's not a bunch of out getting bombed.
No, but what we're talking about is closing down the downtown with a stage. What we're talking about
Wait a
is
second.
No,
We're
it's not.
talking about closing down the downtown? No, we're not.
Nothing's
well,
closing.
I thought
It's
you
not,
wanted a
the stage is not gonna be on the
Street.
street. It's gonna
It's
be
a small
in front of the
No, no.
depot, right?
Yeah,
Like
The
we did
depot.
before.
Just at the depot.
right.
That's the deal.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was like when I looked at it. Like,
Well,
nobody's really busy on that day.
I guess the question really is though, where is what is it that you do the blood draw out of a trailer or a bus or
And
what
the
is
bus,
it?
Vital bus, yes.
And then, so I guess where does that bus go is the question.
Where?
Yeah, where does the bus go?
Park.
Was it parked or?
Yeah, where does
Yeah,
it
so
go?
normally the bus used to be parked in front of the Elbow Club. Prior to that, it was parked next to Bandito's, next to Roger's Place. And Trish, her concern was because they have an event going on that same day, just the parking. She doesn't want to lose parking for like the Bets's event. And we suggested that, hey, just move it to the back lot where like the caboose is at or whatever, as people want to kind of go over there.
Oh,
You know, so like,
in your lot.
right, since it'll be, you know, close to the depot.
Does that work for you? I mean, you won't be able to bring the alcohol over there.
No,
Right.
not at all, not at all.
So the 20 by 40 tent is for seating or
If it rains.
if it rains? Okay, thank you.
Well, I mean, I guess Erica, I would ask you, you mentioned we would set up the fencing Friday night, Friday afternoon, and it wouldn't come down till Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, due to the fact that it's a holiday weekend, it's a little less than ideal. But that was, you know, the best we could do
Yeah.
with the staff availability. If we were to bring them in to take it down on Sunday, we'd have to pay them extra.
All right.
So it would be out all weekend and hopefully it'd be okay.
Is it always over Labor Day?
Pardon?
Is your event always over Labor Day weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
I think a little better warning would have worked. Bathroom facilities, security.
Well, the bathroom is going to be handled by the depot staff.
Yeah, and that's, we're gonna need more than that.
It's not even a group that shows it. I mean, it's a good group. It's not like a festival. You know, it's not like something that like I typically throw. You'll get people like older people that kind of come in from, let's say, from the ages of, for what I've seen, from ages like 55, like 75. They don't drink, they have some waters, have an appetizer. They don't. It's not like a party. It's kind of like people having appreciation for blues. Like Robert has a huge following. He brings free. I mean, your band's your own band playing, right? You got a variety of bands playing all day, and all these guys all these band members that come in to Dundee, they all volunteer their time, like all these bands, so they play for free. Normally they used to do that, like I said, at Diamond Gems and Bandito's. So that's something I didn't think that was worth the town to lose, because it has a huge, like, since it's known for being in Dundee, you know, it's not known for being in Carpentersville or Elgin or Hampshire, you know.
Yeah, I'm struggling because I really want to have this, but it's hard to do in the public square over holiday with the fencing, and it's hard. Like, I'm struggling with the alcohol license, and struggling with it's like I'm struggling, and I want it to happen. So I'm trying to figure out how to
What
make
kind
it
of alcohol is
happen.
going to be served?
She's doing,
Wine and sangria?
she said she's doing, she's told me, sangria isn't like those with wine. Sangria is a wine, so it's not like alcohol. You know, I mean, it's alcohol, but it's not like a straight jack.
It's not real alcohol.
Fake alcohol.
Where is her booth?
Not sure.
Where's Kate's booth gonna be?
So ideally, I was thinking like if she can do like a 10 by 10 anywhere inside the fenced-in area or whatever. We really like.
Is it
Ideally,
she's
I was
requesting a liquor license?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, why isn't she here?
She didn't take her son to practice.
Okay. Well,
But she likes inside board. You can always call her.
what?
I said she likes inside board. I said y'all can always call her too.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, she said anybody can call her.
No, yeah, I know. I can.
Are we going to staff this at all to get wristbands or anything to check IDs? Or are you guys going to check IDs? How's
Yeah,
that?
I have a security team to check out these, you know, so, and there's volunteers, so I can see you guys a blueprint as far as the staff, which is pretty much the same kind of coordinating on Blues for us. And there are people that have ambassador's license too. I know that she said that she's gonna have 2 staff, but we got checkpoints as far as for people in Carter.
Okay.
The rest band too.
Okay.
I would really like to get Chief Kruger's weigh in on this, just to find out what his take is. What's the significance of the Labor Day weekend? It could be the week after, correct?
Nah, ideally, that's the same weekend. Everybody's been doing it for 20 years.
I have people coming in from out of state, and I give them that extra day to get back, and I've done it, like I said, the Sunday before Labor Day for 20 years. People know that.
I've been on this board for 15, and I can only remember that truck being out in front of Diamond Jim's twice.
Oh, I don't think he's lying.
No,
mistaken.
I'm just saying, I mean,
You're
it
mistaken.
hasn't been.
I think that
Year.
speaks to the point that, you know, they're not making a big fuss or ruckus with.
I mean, I've seen the bus, but I want to say it was Life Source that I recall.
That's not what we're up for discussion on.
Life Source is vital. They changing their name.
Yeah, I remember Life Source a couple of times outside of Diamond Jim's, but.
So what do we need to do, Erica? Do we need to make a motion on this, or are we just going to?
Yeah, so there is a motion made as part of this item that was made by trustee Britton and seconded by trustee Souter. So there is a motion which would be to approve the special event license.
I think it's
And
just
the
the
liquor
liquor
license?
license for the liquor,
Yeah,
but the
please.
rest of it's just under discussion. So the liquor license is on motion, and the rest of it, the event, like, being there is just under discussion. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Rental
Correct,
application.
unless they need a special event license, but the special event is the special event liquor license, which is a
Okay.
much narrower license than a general one.
Okay.
And that requires board approval like all liquor licenses.
Well, I thought if there's a special event permit that needs to be granted for the use of the public grounds, and that needs to be authorized by the board if alcohol is being served. And my understanding is if alcohol is not being served, then the special event permit can be approved administratively.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I said the motion here ties to
Got it.
the.
So we're approving a special event permit and we're approving
And the liquor license.
a liquor license.
You could look at it that way. I mean, I viewed them as inherently tied for the reason you said, which was
Gotcha.
that without it, it could be approved administratively.
Yeah, and then I just was wondering, is the,
without the liquor, you're saying it can be approved administratively.
Yes.
We don't need board approval to do it.
You certainly could, and that's what Erica is pointing out here, is that you're really approving both.
Okay. Well, does anybody else have questions? Or should we take it for a vote?
Yeah, I've got problems with security. I've got problems with, the question was already raised with who's taking wristbands, who's going to be watching the door, who's going to be providing the
Asked and
facilities.
answered.
No, they haven't been asked and answered. And so,
I answered that, Jeff. Like I said, for like on Blues Fest, I have a security team and I have the checkpoints. So I'm going to apply. I mean, I'm not going to have as much manpower as I did on Blues Fest, but they're going to be present. So they'll be present for checks. They'll be present for.
who will be?
I have a military security team that I sent over to the chief. I could resend it over.
So, there's a motion. Do you want to call the question?
Do we want to adjust it because we want to get sign off from the local businesses?
Do we want to do what?
That, did we want to get confirmation from local businesses?
Oh.
Right. You could approve it conditioned on the local businesses signing an acknowledgement of it's going on, and also on staff's and the chief's review and approval of whatever practices they're going to follow. Could be done
This
that
is
way.
very complicated. I wish it was a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We're kind of jamming this through at the last minute here. And if this is something you guys have been doing on an annual basis, you should have come to us a month ago.
Yeah. just-
I came to you in
I tried to put forward.
April, I think, this is when I first brought this forward.
That's the first time hearing it.
This is the first that I heard that I had to come before the board, was a week ago.
So, Sarah,
Yes.
you made the motion, right?
Yes.
So you would have to amend your motion
Okay.
to add those conditions that Lance laid out.
The acknowledgement of the
Okay.
surrounding businesses
And
Okay.
chief.
and the review and approval of village staff, including the manager and police chief, about all these practices, about where things are going to be parked and the fencing and whatever else. And
I would like to amend my motion to include all of those things.
okay.
Seconded.
Second. Catherine?
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Britton?
Yeah. Yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
And Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
Okay, well,
Thank
I'll get everything.
based on
Thank you.
Yeah.
a little more
Thanks, Jake.
discussion, we'll be in touch. All right, thank you. Special use. Okay. That takes us to item C, if we could have a motion.
I will move to approve an ordinance amending section 157.086, special uses, to include language regarding special use transferability and expiration.
Second.
All right, this one was in the packet, just wording. I wouldn't have thought a special use like that would have followed the property, but apparently one time it did, so. Did anybody have any questions or anything on this one?
No.
No questions?
No, just for maybe the sake of those here. What we're doing here is amending our code to make it so that if we issue a special permit to anybody, that it expires once the current occupant or business ends. So it's really all it's doing is adding a chance for future boards. We're not locking future boards into decisions that we're making now, is all it's doing.
All right. Anybody else? No? Okay.
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes?
Trustee Burton?
Yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
And Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
Okay, that'll take us to item D, if we can have a motion.
I will make a motion to approve an ordinance amending the East Dundee zoning ordinance to add a new special use in the R4 General Residence District for maternity group homes, add a definition for maternity group homes, and add use-specific standards for maternity group homes.
Second?
Okay. Any questions, discussion on this one?
Well, I did watch the planning and zoning meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was laid out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of questions were asked and answered there.
Yeah, and just to clarify, as we stated earlier, this is specific to that one small piece of property. It's not the entire
Yeah, this is.
span of property. It's just the maternity home.
And from what I understand, it's only two units that they can put on. Am I correct?
Yes,
Well, they're building one new one, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's one already there.
But you can't put a third one.
right.
Right,
Uh,
I have a question for that.
Can we?
Well,
Hi, my name is Sylvia Chavez, and I'm the owner of 527 Springwood. My property borders exactly that property. So I understood that the original vote was to make that house into a group home, which was fine, but not to build anything else, because the whole point of us even buying that property is we're located in a single family home community, not multi-residential home.
well, it isn't gonna be that. I mean, the home that's situated there right now, the result will be a second home right next to it. So it'll be
Similar.
two identical single-family homes is what will be
So
there.
it's not gonna be a big block or
No,
anything?
No.
not at all, not
This,
at all.
this zoning actually wouldn't permit that.
Okay, so it's gonna stay in the same zoning as is currently?
No,
Like zoning
it's going to
3?
change zoning, but the zoning it's changing to does not permit a giant apartment building or anything to that effect.
Can I just explain maybe a little bit? So
Yeah,
the
please.
underlying zoning will stay the same, but we're creating a special use within that underlying zoning that is a specific kind of use that could be appropriate and is being approved, but it's site-specific to that. But the underlying zoning will change, so it remains residential.
Okay, so
Not
what happens in the
multi.
future if, let's say, this permit is approved?
That's the question that I have.
Well-
And Chris, maybe you can help me out with this one. Just quickly, is there anything that's being proposed, and I know this is homework and it should have been done long ago, but after reviewing the planning and zoning and all the information about it, I haven't been able to dig up whether or not Redeeming Life can do what they want to do with an R3 instead of an R4. And so down the line, what I'm concerned with, or my thought is that what rezoning that as R4 will do to future boards in the town in the event Redeeming Life wherever to abandon the operation or whatever, what happens to that now? I mean, so the question is, one, is there anything that is being done with this project through Redeeming Life that can't be done with an R3?
Yeah, the reason for the R4 zoning is that there's already a classification for group homes, which would be senior homes. So this would be a subcategory of that group home section of the R4 code. If Redeeming Life decides that they don't want to do this anymore, or that they want to sell the properties, they would revert back. In R4, it also includes single-family homes. It's not just multifamily. It could be single-family homes. So these would then revert back to single-family home status. They would lose the maternity group home status if they sold them, because it's only specific to them. So they would just be two single-family homes then.
Right, but I mean, as far as lot size, doesn't that determine the R3
Yeah,
and the R4?
each unit would have to have a minimum of 25,000 square feet for this type of use, for the new ordinance. If it reverts back to regular R4, then a single-family home can be built on 9,000 square feet. But the way this is laid out and the topography of the location, they wouldn't be able to pack more homes in there on the drive entrance and everything else. So
These are square footage, 25,000 square feet.
Yeah,
for the lot, for one unit.
Yeah, but to Chris's point, if you take a look at what's back there, the topography is such that, man, you're not far off the edge and you're off the cliff. I mean, it's a big drop.
So they have roughly 60,000 square feet that they're going to have in their lot. They can, at some point, make it 2 lots because they would still be in that 25,000 square foot category. So they could have one home on one lot and one home on a second lot and still have the maternity status and meet the 25,000 square foot minimum.
Right, but what I'm wondering is if you said it reverts back to R4.
It's R4.
It's R4 now.
No, it's
So it's going to,
R3
I'm sorry,
now.
it's going to be R4 with this vote.
Right.
But then if the operation were ever abandoned or, ended or whatever.
No, it's R3 and
R3
R2.
and R2, they're 2 different zones.
You say it reverts back to R4, I'm not sure what you
No,
mean.
He just means
it would
the
stay
special
R4.
use goes away.
So the special
So
use
the
has the
underlying
maternity.
R4 is always
Right,
there.
but it still stays R4, which would allow whatever you can do on an R4 lot.
Right.
And that's,
If
concern.
they were to demolish the homes and go that route,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they could come in for some sort of other development.
exactly.
See,
And
that's the problem.
Okay,
with
but
that,
what
that's-
kind of development could they have? They can't have a giant apartment building with an R4, that's an R5. You can have row houses and townhomes, you cannot have some giant thing. Is that right or wrong? I guess I don't know, but that's how I read the code for R4.
You could do whatever our quote R4
Chime in
allows.
on that, or you're not familiar with it?
That's correct.
That is correct. So you're going to be looking, if
Okay.
this happens in the future, it's going to be townhomes or it's going to be row houses. It's not going to be this giant 40-unit apartment building or
Okay.
anything like that. With this current zoning that we're making now.
Okay.
Okay.
How does the fencing work? So I have fencing obviously around my property. They have partial fencing, which kind of borders mine, and then it's just field. How,
You're to the
how does
east,
that
right?
work?
To the east
Yes.
and south?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's no requirement of fencing.
No, there
For
wouldn't
a
be any.
group home, maternity
No,
group home?
no, for residential, it's a residential.
There's no.
No, not for residential, but if they're using it as in a maternity, there's wildlife that.
It's still considered residential.
Zone-wise, it's
Okay.
considered residential.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if fencing was part of the future plan or not. I mean, it's something that certainly can be considered, because I know there is, when I went back there was fence along the east edge, back, oh gosh, I don't know how far back it was. But yeah, it turns into some pretty rough terrain back there pretty quickly, so. But the use of it, the future use of it is, if it's R4, it can be used for whatever R4 allows at that time, correct?
Correct.
Right. And that's my only, and so therefore, my question becomes, again, is there anything that's being requested other than the use, the specific status of group home that R3 would not allow? I mean, so what I'm saying is that if you take the designation of group home out of it, because that's really just a moniker, is there anything specific to R4 that this project is requiring that R3 wouldn't give them?
Are you saying, is there a reason we're changing it? Yeah, multifamily.
Homes at all.
Yeah.
R3 doesn't allow.
Right,
group
and
homes.
that's why they put it in R4, so that's where the
Right.
village had previously decided group homes should go as a subset within R4, not R3.
Yeah.
So it would be a bigger adjustment to the code to now allow group homes in R3.
Yeah, I get that, but you know, when you look at this particular use, you're saying, well, group home, and you're looking at a regular residential unit. It's a house. A house is a house is a house. If you put 25 people in it, they consider it a group home. If you have 4 people in it, it's just a regular home.
Well, they can't have 25 people.
Well,
They're gonna
I'm
have
No.
6 people.
exaggerating a little bit, but my point is that
Why?
the group home designation is really just a name, if you will.
But
just
it's
an
a name that we
indication.
have in R4. It's a name that our ordinances have in R4.
Yeah, so really you'd be expanding your group home allowance significantly to add it, to make it eligible in R3 as well, and that'd
Yeah.
be fine, but it's, I think staff was trying to make it
Yeah.
as consistent with the current setup as possible.
I think your exposure is limited because if you come in with a redevelopment, you're gonna probably replat the property and the village has control over seeing those site plans.
Okay.
What goes in there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think 20, 25 years down the road, you know, further on than that, you know, just, and I know, again, this is probably something that really should have been a homework item that, but a question was raised to me that I hadn't considered, and so I needed to just ask this question and find out about it, so, I'm okay with where we're at, so,
Okay.
are you?
I believe so. So as long as I understand, the main entrance of the property is based off of Route 72. Is it going to maintain being Route 72, or are they going to have a separate entrance from Springwood?
No, that hasn't been,
Okay.
that hasn't been considered at all.
Because I saw that they were trying to buy that little slot, so I wasn't
No, you
sure.
wouldn't be able to do that. You're just gonna be able to have that same sneak in and out
Yeah.
at the east end of the property.
72, yeah.
72.
If I could answer her question, I don't think you were at the public hearing.
I wasn't. I had to work. I'm sorry.
Okay. We did answer this question at the public hearing. I'm Janet Johnson, attorney at Aaron Fox Schiff, representing Redeeming Life. And the reason why we acquired that little piece to the south was so that we would have direct access to the sewer and water connections and not have to go through somebody else's property. The church actually owned that property as well. So that's why that was included. But the topography is such that it is just not possible to put in a driveway there at all because of the elevation change. So there's no plan to do that. The entrance would be off of Higgins. Now, if Emmanuel should do something else to the property and allow for a different access point off of Higgins, we've agreed with them that we would relocate our driveway, but it would always be off of Higgins, is the agreement that we have with Emmanuel.
No, not on this side.
Alrighty. Well, I think we're good on this. Anybody else have any questions, discussion items? No? Kathy?
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Britton?
Yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
And Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
Okay, that'll take us to item D.
Uh,
Can I have a motion?
Are we D or are we
E.
E?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I will
E.
move to approve an ordinance approving the rezoning of the property commonly known as 516 East Main Street from the R2 Single Family Residence Zoning District and the R3 Single Residence Zoning District to the R4 General Residence Zoning District.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
What is this property?
Same one.
The same one we were talking about.
This is
but-
the actual rezone.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, the first one, we were just changing the ordinance of what the definition of an R4 is. This one, we're actually changing the zone. I have a question. The packet lists 3 property numbers, and one of them says it's a partial. And I guess, as a general comment, if we're ever gonna have discussions about zoning and rezoning, I feel like in the packet, there should be a map of exactly what areas we're talking about rezoning. I went to I don't know, maybe that was in the planning and zoning packet, but we didn't get that.
Yeah.
We only get the village board packet. So maybe if we get the planning and zoning packets as well, or something to that effect, that would help. But it calls out partial of this giant lot, 14-acre lot, and I don't know how much partial that is.
I have copies of the survey.
Okay.
That show if you'd like.
Yeah.
Extra copies, I give one to each, the trustees.
Thank you.
And I can explain which piece is out of the giant parcel.
Thank you.
Follow along.
So if you look at this, parcel A is at the bottom, if you hold it this way. This is south, Springwood is here. This is the little parcel that you were asking about, which is just a sliver piece. That's one of the parcels. Then the existing home parcel is with this dotted line up and then the solid line, more like a trapezoid kind of a thing, or almost a triangle. The piece that we're purchasing out of the church's large parcel is just this little piece between the dotted and this.
Okay.
And part of the reason was, for that was in order to make enough land area to meet the zoning requirements.
Gotcha.
Number one. And number two, there's such an elevation drop there. In order to get the second home on the property, we had to get a little bit wider up at the top, because otherwise we couldn't fit. Even though, even if we had enough square feet, we wouldn't be able to build it because of the way the topography works. So.
I had one other question that I don't know if this is, this would pertain to this particular motion or the next one, but this driveway that we're going to access on Route 72, if we approve this, is that it? And then they could do whatever they want? Or does IDOT have to weigh in on this at some point when you add essentially a driveway or a road that's going to intersect with Route 72 with no control at all, no signal at all? Does IDOT have to weigh in on that at all?
Isn't that the existing driveway?
Yeah, we would be.
It is the existing driveway, but the existing driveway doesn't get used because there's nobody that lives there.
But it did at one point, so.
There will be.
Okay. Again, I want to maintain my question here.
Yeah, I understand what your question is.
Yeah,
So the church
Yeah.
currently uses that property, even though there's nobody living in there day to day. They use it for events and functions and meetings and whatnot. So there is a very minimally impactful use. So your question is, do we then have to go back to IDOT to get approval again if the use is being increased? Which I'm sure Joe can answer.
Yes, if there's a major traffic change, IDOT will get involved. Or if you plan to do any improvements, touch any of the driveway or drainage within the right of way, then IDOT would get involved. But with this type of use, I don't see a change in traffic.
We could answer the question about the traffic.
Yeah, I'm Cheryl Lubet, Redeeming Life Outreach Ministries. Just so that, to clarify for everyone, there is a very small impact on traffic on that road because most of the women that we serve and that will live with us don't have vehicles and will be using public transportation. And so I don't think you're going to really notice any more than what the church is doing now, coming in and out with one of the pastors maintains an office there, and other activities that they're doing. So it's been our experience that the most cars we've ever had with our Florida home with 6 women in the home was 2 vehicles. So that's been our experience over the last 10 years.
Okay. Are you going, right now it's like a dirt road. Are you going?
No, it's paved.
Oh, it is paved?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's
I don't know if it's concrete or asphalt.
It's asphalt.
Okay.
All right. Is it 1 lane right now, or is it 2 lanes?
It's kind of one lane. It's kind of a wide 1 lane. Yeah. So we're
curves.
And
are
it
you
twists
planning
around.
on doing anything with that? Are you going to increase that?
No, because it's just like a private residence
Are you
driveway.
going to Okay.
We may
I don't
clear
know.
some of the
This
shrubbery that's
That
right.
intersection makes me nervous.
Yes, and that, we did discuss that at planning and zoning.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But looking at the map, it does seem like it's straight for a while where it enters. It's not on a curve that they're entering, like looking at
On
a
Route
Google map.
72?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
on a
you,
flight.
the only way you're gonna get in there is if you're heading east on Route 72. If you're going west on Route 72 and you wanna cut across, that would not be advisable, I would imagine.
I've done it.
I would do
Depending on the day of
it.
the week, the day, you can do it. You can-
Depending on the
Yeah.
time of day, for sure, yeah. All right.
Maybe you guys ought to think about making a sign that you can't make a left-hand turn out of that driveway.
That would be IDOT's jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, it
Also,
is-
to keep it in perspective, 855 Main had to go through IDOT, and they didn't require any changes to their entrances, or 811 and 855.
Oh. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? No. Catherine?
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Britton?
yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
And Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
All right, that takes us to item F. We can have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance granting a special use permit for a maternity group home for the property commonly known as 516 East Main Street.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this one? Just special use permit?
Well, yeah, I have some questions for you guys. So, my understanding is if, if a mother of a young child, say, is being abused in her home, she could come to you guys and to escape that situation. No? Okay, what is it? How do you find your girls? That's
Okay,
my question.
we're not again, Cheryl DeWitt, I don't know if I have to do that, but we are not a safe house for women who are in domestic violence situations.
Okay.
We take women who are pregnant and in need. Some of them are living with violent boyfriends or, men who hit them or things like that. But that's not the majority of the case. Most of the time, they're minimally housed or inappropriately housed and things like that. So we aren't like a safe house where we have multiple mothers here with children. They have to come in. They come in pregnant, not with a child.
Oh, really?
That's correct. It's a maternity facility.
Okay.
So they come in pregnant and needing help. We will have security, nonetheless, cameras outside and in,
Yeah.
and of course we'll be working with the
Okay.
local department here to be sure they know if we have any trouble. In our experience to date in Florida, we have had no problems,
Yeah.
not one. So I think the fact that we have security.
I'm not really worried about the problem.
Yeah.
What I'm asking is are you connected to the county or the township
No.
at all, so that if somebody goes there and they need help, they could find you? Or how do people find you?
They find us through our network. We have a website, so most of the girls, if they're in need, will be saying pregnant, need help, and in that area, our website will come up. We also work through the network of pregnancy centers, the crisis pregnancy centers that are all over, that do free pregnancy testing and things like that, so we will be a referral source for them. So we'll do some work, boots on the grounds, getting to know the community at large, really, because we can take women from all around the area, not just, here, from all over. And so we will be doing some work to network with them and to get them to know that we're there as a resource, and also through our church community.
I did hear you say that in the planning and zoning meeting that these girls are part of a community there. For instance, they go to church with you guys. Is that required that they go to church?
It is part of our program. It's an expectation that they have, that they do go to church and they go to Bible study. We have devotions every day. And we are a Christian home and a Christian organization.
Okay, so you wouldn't accept a Muslim girl or atheist girl?
Oh, absolutely. We've had Muslim women come And we're not saying that they have to become Christian.
Okay.
No, but they do have to become part of the body of the house, which, as a Christian home, we do Christian things. So, but we don't force them to become a Lutheran or a Christian at all, no. We had a very wonderful relationship with a Muslim mom, and women of all kinds of denominations, that is absolutely not a requirement. We're actually happy to help anyone who comes.
Okay. All right. Would you consider getting in touch with the county or the township to?
Oh, sure. I didn't mean we didn't work with the counties. We did. What I mean is that we are independent from government funding or anything like that. We're independently and privately funded. So, but we definitely would be reaching out to your health departments and things like that to make sure that these resources, and your hospitals. So there's a lot of work that has to be done, to just get us known. But with that said, we also kind of fly under the radar. We don't have a sign out that says maternity home here. We're very private and quiet.
That's why I'm asking how they find you.
Yes, they find us through this network that we put out.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else? Comments? No? Catherine?
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Britton?
Yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
All right, that takes us to item G, if we could have a motion.
I'll move to approve an ordinance, or I'm sorry, I'd like to make a why am I having a hard time with this right now? I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance amending section 157.223, amendments regarding text amendments, and to include a section to allow the village administrator to propose text amendments to the Planning and Zoning and Historic Commission.
Second.
Erica, would you like to run with this one?
It's fairly straightforward right now. If we would like to propose a text amendment to the zoning ordinance, we bring it to the village board votes on it, then it goes to planning and zoning votes on it, then it comes back to the village board to be voted on again. So this just eliminates one of those 3 steps and allows me to propose a text amendment directly to the planning and zoning commission, which will then come back to the board for approval.
Yeah, I think we had to propose this a month ago, so
Right.
it could go to planning and zoning.
Right, we did
And now
talk
it's
about
back to
that.
us to do, so.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right, we did.
Now we're in step 3.
Now we actually need to.
All right.
So, was there any questions or comments? No? Catherine?
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Britton?
Yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
And Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
Okay, and that'll bring us to our last item, item H, if we could have a motion.
I will move to approve a resolution awarding a bid to Arrow Road Construction Company in the amount of $168,539.60 for the 2022 street improvement project.
Second.
Phil, you want to run with this one at all, or just kind of give a brief rundown?
Sure.
What you're looking at?
Included in our budget is a project to resurface Body Dundee Road from Wilmette to the corporate limit, which is essentially Council Hill Road, at the top of the hill. Solicited bids were slightly under what we budgeted, so a good sign there. Project, Joe Hines is working with the contractor to determine a project schedule. Ahead of this project, we're going to complete the Bonnie Dundee culvert, and so that's the project. That's also budgeted, but will be handled separately, not under this project itself. So.
To be finished this year, correct?
Yes, correct.
And there wouldn't happen to be any money in that number to finish the outlet from 72 to King, would there? Or on King, I should say, to Reese?
So that project will use patching dollars. So we opened bids this morning on the 4th Street improvement project, and included with that project is the patching program.
The only reason I ask is because it was asked of me twice. So
Yes,
it's like, let me find out. It's
that
been
particular
like that
patch, that road was caused, the issue there was a water main break back in February. And the break itself disrupted the base and the road itself a very large extent, and so we don't have the ability to pave that in-house. So we need the patching program with their commercial equipment versus our more rented equipment for that improvement. So
Okay, and then this one here, this wasn't curved, correct? Because this is
correct. No concrete work on this project at all.
Good. Okay, good enough. Good enough. Any other questions for Phil or Joe? No? Catherine, thank you, Phil.
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Britton?
Yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
And Trustee Sauer?
Yes.
All right, that takes us to the financial reports, the warrants list. What, it's a big number. Questions can go to Erica and Brandis. We'll go to reports. Quickly for me, I just want to let everybody know that Senator Don DeWitt, Senator Craig Wilcox, and Senator Dan McConkey will be holding a unclaimed property discussion tomorrow at Crystal Lake Library from 1 o'clock to 5. We went ahead and Catherine posted this information on our website and then in the downtown Village Hall, rather. And so if anybody's interested in, unclaimed property, I've had a little bit of experience with this, and it was surprising. And a couple of bucks coming my way I didn't realize, so who knew? Anyway, so you can find a little bit more about this. That's again 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock at Dundee Library, or Crystal Lake Library. And speaking of libraries, the Fox River Valley Library site, September is their library card month sign up. So they're going to be holding a month-long drive for that. We'll be taking part in that just to put the word out. We have our Thirsty Thursday, right, coming up. So just to let everybody know, give you a warning, I will be there. And if anybody had any opportunity to see last week's Motor Monday, that was a really good turnout. We had a lot of cars out that night, so it was great. So, and that's all I have. Andy, what you got?
Not too much. The Arts Council is purchasing paint for our projects coming up. We're getting primary paints to just mix colors so that we can have more color options. But we don't have anything scheduled yet as far as the date for actually painting. But no other reports.
Alrighty, Rich, what you got?
The blue chair looks great.
Oh, that's right, I forgot to say that.
Blue chair looks great, and just overall the downtown looks fantastic right now. I'd say the paver project, getting rid of that red gravel, everything.
Yeah,
it's just
looks wonderful.
big kudos to you and your team. Phil, Public Works, just fantastic. And then, that's pretty much
The
it.
umbrellas
So.
on the table look really nice too.
It was a very lady chair unveiling.
Yeah, I wanted to make that fascinating.
Appreciated the help.
I will
of
say, I was
staff.
wearing white shorts, and it was wet. And I was a little worried when I sat down. So
But it
nothing
was nice and
happened.
dry.
It was great. It was a great job.
Just to talk your comment, the gravel that's on the corner of the depot will be removed this week and replaced with additional pavers. So
Nice.
Fantastic.
all the gravel will be gone, hopefully by the end of this week.
It looks so
Very
much
nice.
better and certainly more durable. Is that all, Rich?
Yes, yes.
Scott, what you got?
Erica, is there any update on the parking lot lighting over by the Royal that she was asking about? And the ownership of those lights and how to get them turned on at night for public use?
Ever revolving. So I know that they, the new owner of the shopping center submitted to redo the parking lot lighting, right?
Yes, he's applying for a permit to replace the light poles and lights with new LED on his property. I don't know how that, if it all
I don't think
ties
that it would
into the
affect
north
that.
side. I
Yeah.
don't believe it does. We have not been able to determine how those lights are, what they're hooked up to.
Wow.
But they're not hooked up to the Royals or the unit next to them.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah, magic lights.
I mean, it's private property. I mean, how do we, are we
Yeah.
responsible? They're not our lights.
Fair enough.
Well, parking lot lighting is required, so you could start finding.
Well, they're the ones. The owners are the ones concerned that they don't have parking.
Well,
just don't
they
know
aren't
how
the
to
owners,
turn
though.
on.
They're renting.
Pardon me? They're renters.
They're
right.
renters. They're not
owners of the
owners.
business, right.
Who knows who owns that particular lot? I don't.
You know where Royals is at?
It's in between that and the restaurant next door to is closed down. There was the,
Next to Brown's
Okay.
Chicken.
Most northern outlet. Pardon? He said his are on. He said he doesn't have any other.
I thought it was just the northern third of the main strip. Yeah, I don't know if Amin owns those outlets or not. I don't think he does.
I can reach out to our ComEd External Affairs Coordinator, see if she might be able to do something.
okay, but I also like his idea of at least contacting the owner and asking him what his plan is for the lighting that is supposed to be on per code. I think that's a fair question. If we could find out who owns it. I'm sure we can. The other comment I had was, I wonder if, we record these village board meetings, that's great. We record the planning and zoning meetings, that's great, but we don't record the Arts Council, and we don't record the police pension fund meetings. These are all public meetings. I'm just wondering, should we be recording them?
Yeah, there's a whole slew of meetings. I mean, all of our committees, the Arts Council, the Events Committee, all of the committee levels, we don't, except for planning and zoning, I guess.
Yeah, but that's what I'm asking is why not? And why
I can add that as a discussion item to a future meeting, and you guys can discuss whether or not you want to add additional ones to be recorded. I mean, it's additional staff time to
Put it out.
convert the video and put it on the website, but beyond that, so if there's additional ones, I can put together some data on what it would take and which ones we recommend. And
Yeah, it would be interesting to prioritize. I don't think we need to do 100% of them, but,
No.
We never have.
because we have the audio, right? We release
we
the
do have audio.
Okay.
Yes.
But we don't publish the audio anywhere.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Should we publish the audio instead of video for some? Or if we have it, it's probably the easiest to just publish
Might
it.
be kind of difficult to follow along, but, they're public meetings, so,
Yeah.
I don't know that there's any, restriction or anything to putting it out there. If we have, we just never have before, so.
No, the only issue would be to make sure you have a policy for the records and how long they're kept and stuff like
Right.
that. But no, there would be no limitation on doing some.
Okay. That's all.
Okay. Sarah?
No report.
No report. Okay, we'll go around then. Lance?
No report.
Chris?
No report.
No. High Street, they're doing okay? I mean,
Yeah,
you
they're
broke
moving,
ground, but-
dirt, doing the mass grading right now.
Okay, good. So, when do you think they'll be under roof? By next week?
Probably April next year, maybe.
Oh, is it gonna be? Okay.
Well, yeah, they can't get their wall panels until I think February.
Oh, I thought they already had, okay, all right. We might just have to have Sky moving for our deck. Joe, what you got?
No report.
No. Phil?
No report.
Okay, Franco? No? Erica? No report. No report, all right. All right, well, that takes us to, I believe we're gonna adjourn into an executive session, so I'd like to thank everybody for coming. You don't have to.
I will make a motion
Go.
to adjourn the meeting into executive session, closed to the public and media under the provision of the Illinois Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120/2, 5 and 6. C5, acquisition of property, and C6, sale of property, and we will be adjourning completely from that, not coming back to public session.
Kathy?
Who seconded?
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Trustee Coonsey?
Yes.
Trustee Britton?
Yes.
Trustee Triber?
Yes.
Trustee Sauter?
Yes.
And President Lineham.
Yes. Okay, again, thank you all for coming. Got John here to split daylight.
Oh, no. We say no audio.